Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast. Just reminding you that I've also got a Facebook and a Twitter if you're interested with the same name, Spiritual and Energy Work with Wendy. So if you want to go to my Facebook page, you can do that. I want to talk about emotional healing today. I know that you'll really relate to this because this is my big area, emotional healing. We can do emotional healing quite easily. It's actually an energy when we do it. So we're using the emotional healing light. That's how I want you to view it. And it can be sent to all parts of the aura. It's quite a concentrated light. It does work. I've checked it before and after. So if you send emotional healing to some part, check before. And you can do that with your pendulum if you like, and even ask with kinesiology on a rating of 1 to 10 how much is there. So when you do the emotional healing, you're really trying to fix something that's coming from some emotion which is upsetting you. You don't necessarily have to know the emotion. That's good. You can have do something like emotional healing on anger, or emotional healing on fear, or emotional healing on sorrow. And you can actually be quite specific if you want to. But I've also done it just where I've just sent emotional healing to myself in different parts. Choose the parts that you think resonate with you. We can send emotional healing to ourselves, so we can send it to the emotional body and the layers. We can send it to the chakras, emotional healing to my solar plexus chakra or my heart chakra. I also send it to particular organs, so if I'm having trouble with some place, particularly, and I know it's emotionally based, like I know my headaches from emotions, or my stomach ache, the trouble I'm having speaking, maybe I can't. I've got laryngitis or whatever it's called, and I can't speak, but I know it's emotional. Then I send emotional healing. So all you have to do is focus, and then you actually see the emotional healing light going to that place. You send it to you, and you just flood it with emotional healing. And you just keep doing that as long as you want, and then just do it during the day. So when you're going through a really tough emotional day, you just keep sending and bringing in the emotional healing light to yourself. Usually it will be around your heart, because your heart will be suffering, and your heart chakra. So remember to do that. Sometimes people hit you also around the throat and the third eye. If people are playing mind games with you, they'll hit your third eye. So send emotional healing to those parts. When you send the emotional healing, it changes the entire energetics of the body, and it also fills it up. You're low in emotion, like you're really emotionally drained, you feel overwhelmed, you're just not coping emotionally. By sending emotional healing light to yourself and to those areas, you fortify yourself. It's a strengthening of the aura and your ability to cope and handle what's coming up. Because sometimes we land up in situations that are there's no end in sight, and we just have to keep going, and we have to find a way to keep going. But we're so emotionally drained that we just don't know how to do that anymore. This is a good way to fortify yourself. I always do it on bad days. I do it when bad days are coming up. Like if I know there's something coming up that's going to be very emotionally challenging, I send a lot of healing to myself and fortify myself, strengthen my aura, strengthen my heart. It's very important to understand that your heart is going to take the biggest hit. Around the heart, there's the pericardium, and in Chinese medicine, there is also a meridian, which is like called the heart protector, which protects the heart. It's like the first line of defense, like a little fort, and it protects the heart from damage. And you can send lots of healing to your heart and your heart meridian and your pericardium and your pericardium meridian as well. Go and Google them. They're running down from the armpits down to the hands. When we do this work, even though we think it's intangible and we can't touch it, you can actually use your checks. I check it with kinesiology and with my pendulum to see how much more there is there. And that way, it kind of, for me, it's my eyes, and it verifies that I've done enough as well and covered it. You cannot send yourself too much emotional healing. And sometimes it's like, man, I just need more emotional healing around this. The emotional healing light is really good to send to other people as well. If someone in your family or one of your friends or workmates, colleagues is going through a really tough time, just send them a whole lot of emotional healing light. I just send it like a big, almost like a huge big, not tornado, but I just flush their whole aura with emotional healing light and just fill them up. To me, the light feels like it's pink and gold, and it has pink and gold in it. That's how I see it, and white, of course. That's the intuitive way I see that light. It's kind of sparkling light, and when you do it, just fill up through their crown and right through them, and then goes straight to the heart chakra and just really fill it up, and that will strengthen them. Even people who aren't into what we do, they will still get the healing. What they do with it's up to them. They can take it or not take it. But at least it's been sent, and it will actually help them get through. You're giving them, within that light, there's usually the component that I think the pink is the love. I think that's the love, and that's what you're sending them. And of course, the gold is there to make it stronger, to strengthen your aura, to reinforce it almost energetically. And then the white light, of course, is healing as well. It's a high vibration, has all the different colours in it, and that will heal strongly. You can send this also to your pets. If your pet's having a lot of trouble when you go to work, or abandonment and crying when you leave or whenever, you just send emotional healing to them. And that's the other thing. The Bach remedy, the rescue remedy, is a very good one to be taken for anyone, and pets and children, when you need emotional healing, when it's an emotional fear or struggle. Support yourself with the rescue remedy. Very, very good for you. I've checked the vibration of the Bach rescue remedy, and it's huge. It's really, really big. So you're putting that into yourself. We can also send emotional healing to situations in the world that are volatile, and we know where they are right now. Send emotional healing to those countries or those areas. You can also send it to places where there have been bushfires or loss of life. I'll usually do that. And I think you can also send it to certain world leaders who have power to make things go one way or the other. Because usually people who are in positions of power like power. Sometimes they can be really great people, but sometimes they can be people who are very into ego and like power. And so by sending them emotional healing, that helps them to soften them, perhaps to help them become more compassionate and come from love rather than power. Emotional healing will also help people who are in your circle who might be having trouble with that. Anyone who's a control freak usually needs a lot of emotional healing. And anyone who's mean or nasty to people or says awful things. Also, aggressive people do it. People who are full of anger, they're hurting on some level. Something's not working in their life. That's why they're lashing out. So you send them emotional healing as well. I think you will really like this one. It's very easy to send. I think it's very effective. And when people are also sick, when they're scared, like if they've had a bad diagnosis of something, or they're frightened because they're in hospital, if you send them emotional healing, it'll just help them cope. We are, by our very nature, emotional beings. In our society, we think we're all head and mental head people, but we're not really, because as soon as something emotional happens, it sort of shakes our little aura and we are affected by it. Once we start healing ourselves emotionally, I feel that everything else falls into place. We'll be more healthy, we'll have less depression, we will cope better with what life brings to us because we are stronger. Many of us have suffered emotionally in this world, and the more sensitive you are to emotions, the closer you are to being an empath, the more the emotions are going to touch you. It's almost like, because we're empathic, we feel everything, and we feel it more than most people, because we're not only feeling our own emotions, we're feeling the emotions very strongly sometimes of other people. I can be with people and feel what they're feeling, which is good in one way for the work, but on a personal level, That means if they have anxiety, I will feel it. If they're feeling sorrow, I will be affected and feel it. It's a gift to have, but it also means that your emotions are working on two levels. So you've got your own emotions you're dealing with, and then everyone else's. Use the emotional healing light. It's really a beautiful light. When I look at it, it's kind of glistening, and you might actually see it as well when you're using it. And be happy that you can do these things, that you're in a place spiritually and emotionally and also energetically where you can use the work. So I'm sending you lots of emotional healing this week, because I'm sure while we're going through this messy time, we all need it. And I'm hoping that you have some success using it this week. And I'm sending you love, and I'm sending you light.